Well, hello and welcome to my podcast, Manna at the Tap. My name is Gloria, and I just want to thank you for joining me as we journey with Jesus toward the cross. As we approach the end of March 2024, we find ourselves in Holy Week, a time that holds great significance for Christians communities all over the world. Today marks Holy Wednesday. Holy Week began on Palm Sunday when Jesus fulfilled the words of the prophet Zechariah. Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion, your king is coming to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. The people who followed Jesus anticipated that something was about to happen in Jerusalem like never before. They rejoiced as they accompanied Jesus in a parade, waving their palm branches and singing the song of victory from Psalm 118. Monday, as Jesus was returning to Jerusalem, and as he got nearby, he stopped. He wept over the city, pondering their future without peace. They were missing out on recognizing the visitation of the Messiah. Jesus' heart was still heavy when he entered the temple and he saw the money exchangers had filled up the space where the Gentile pilgrims and the women were to worship God. He overturned their tables, declaring this was God's house, a house of prayer, and not a place for thieves to rob pilgrims. Later, as he sat near the treasury, Jesus pointed out to his disciples a poor widow putting her 2 pennies into the treasury. He told them she had given by far the largest offering, more than all the rich people. She gave extravagantly. She gave her all. Tuesday is also known as Fig Tuesday. Jesus cursed a fig tree that had no fruit, even though from a distance it looked like there would have been fruit. Jesus continued teaching his disciples and those who wanted to hear him. But in the meantime, the religious leaders were plotting for his demise. Wednesday is often called Spy Wednesday because Judas is making plans with the religious leaders to betray Jesus. He's participating as a member of Jesus's disciples, but he's also keeping company and talking with the religious leaders about how he might hand Jesus over to them. Now let's turn to the lectionary text for today, Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 to 3. The writer of Hebrews is unknown, but they are a wonderful storyteller who wrote at length in Hebrews chapter 11 about the biblical characters whose lives were an act of faith. And now, as we turn the page to chapter 12, the writer is challenging us to see all the pioneers who blazed the way for us and are cheering us on to a life of faith. We had better get on with it. The stories of faith are about ordinary, everyday people like you and me who lived out their lives of faith through God's promises. Over and over, the refrain in chapter 11 was by faith. The list of names is an inspiration to us. They had complex and messy lives. Some of the people were outsiders like Rahab, who was welcomed into the community after she betrayed the king of Jericho and gave the two young spies the inside scoop to the city of Jericho. Our challenge is to strip down, start running, and never quit, keeping our eyes on Jesus, both who both began and finished this race that we are in. The writer encourages the community not to quit. Instead, fix your eyes on Jesus as you run this race of life. Think about the joy of Jesus who endured the cross, committing himself to the arms of his Father as he died. And the writer tells us to put aside every weight and sin that clings so closely and follow Jesus through a disciplined life. A life of faith is a life of hardship and suffering, and the writer makes no excuses for that. The Christian life may be difficult, but we live by faith. What does faith require? It is both active and demanding. Faith leads to suffering, but we have the endurance to make it through. Faith comes to us as we hear God's words that we are not to grow weary or lose heart. Well, I hope you heard something today, and I pray that this day, this Wednesday, would be a blessing and that you will join us on Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, Silent Saturday, and of course, Resurrection Sunday.